Hi, Cromwell here. So we're in the last episode of this conversation around healing, and it has been a journey. Thank you for going on a journey with me. So it has taken a couple of episodes, and rightly so, to talk about this very underspoken but deeply important topic. And I'm very glad that I had the privilege to speak on this and how this has opened up a journey for others. This episode will be pretty simple, and it is my final note on the healing journey. And it is one sentence, but it will slap like 1,000 sentences in one. So let's dig in. I'm David Cromwell, and I believe in the virality of thought and power of conversations to shape how we live for the better. This space is where those conversations happen and a home to people who are on a journey to truly live the way we're created to. Welcome to your safe space. Welcome to Cromwell's Harbor. Okay. All right. Welcome, everyone. So how am I doing? I think it can be put very simply with two words: a sigh that expresses a deep cry for Yahweh to send help. House hunting. Honestly, I had heard about how hard house hunting could be. I heard about it. I think Job, when he says, "I've heard of you, but now I have seen you." I actually had heard about it, house hunting, and now I have finally gotten a chance to experience it, and it is indeed interesting. Firstly, like the level of inflation that's happening in Nigeria or in Lagos, in particular, in the price of houses. And the funny thing is that like everybody wants to jump on this bandwagon of inflation and charge crazy prices for houses, but they don't want to actually maintain the same quality. So you could see like a house that, in the name of an open plan kitchen, you literally just put a cabinet with a tap in the middle of someone's sitting room, and you call it open plan, and then you want to charge the same price with someone else who actually did like a proper kitchen. Sometimes I just wonder, like, do these guys actually like think about the things that they do? It feels like a large amount of it is just. I'm a bit concerned just how much people just do things for money over the actual serving the people that actually pay you the money. I have wasted lots of money. Inspection fees. They have chopped me on this one. I didn't even realize I was even there being kind. Like, I would be the one to carry the agent in a car and still pay the agent's inspection fee. As how? Like, man, like there's some things that happen in this country or in this state that you genuinely can't explain to anyone that thinks straight. I don't like, maybe there's a way to explain it. The way to explain it is that people are just greedy, I guess. But it's or maybe it's the fact that people don't actually add value, so they look for every opportunity to be able to just climb on a chain and be able to make money from that. But it genuinely is quite concerning. So this is one that just summarizes my experience with these amazing creatures. So I left the office to go for an inspection. I thought it was going to be quick. I'll be back quickly. And I get there, and the person that I'm waiting for, he comes a little bit late. And then he says he's on the way. He's 10 minutes away. He comes 10 minutes away. Apparently, he's waiting for someone else who actually has the key. So we're waiting for a while, and at the point I just get tired and say I'm going back to the office. But this is even the good day. So the second day comes, and I'm like, okay, let me give this guy a chance. So the guy begs me. He gets another person. So I think I call him, and this is like a week after. And so I eventually go for the location, for the inspection. And, red flags. As I come in, I just noticed that, what's happening? Like, it looks like the person that I meant to be going for the inspection, big red flag was that I was meant to be waiting at the gate of an estate, and he's like, he's there. We wait for like 15 minutes. Bro, you're not here. Where are you? Like, are you invisible? Like, what's happening? He now starts calling in the middle. I said like, oh, where are you? Like, this bro was nowhere close to the place, but was just trying to just stall by calling and using all these tactics that these frauds learn in Fraud Academy. So he so he then goes ahead, I follow him. We head all the way to the place where I think is the house. And then he starts telling me that, okay, follow that Venza in front. So now we are all on a trail, 3 cars going to the same location. And I'm interested, like, okay, this is not a convoy. So what exactly is happening here? We turn inside multiple places and eventually we then get to the place. I just noticed that it seemed like he was trying to serve, like address somebody while he was addressing me at the same time. So apparently he had booked other people's inspections to happen at the same time with mine. And I'm looking at the house and I'm like, this is not the house that you sent me a picture of. This is not the place. He's like, oh, guys, it's the house now. It's the house. He says, trying to check it's the house. And because he's distracted, he's trying to talk to somebody else while he's talking to me. So that person is already discouraged. She doesn't want to even come out. She's like, this is not what I want. I already know from the outside because I know what I saw in pictures. If you can build the kind of house that I saw in the pictures from this exterior, you are a miracle worker. So I already know. And then, we go into the scuffle and then he opens up the door. We enter inside. It's a big failure. This is not the place. He's shocked. He's doing all that. And so we're talking, right? We're talking and, I'm just like, man, this doesn't work. This is not effective. Whatever. I'm just there angry because, like, rightfully so, you've booked with me. He's not like, oh, the lady's late, whatever. And I'm like, this can't work. We can't do multiple inspections. And it's like, yes, you're right. This can't work. We can't do multiple inspections. No. And it's like, yes, I agree with you 100%. And, I'm just waiting for him to go to the other lady and tell her that, okay, you were late. Come another day. I need to take this guy to the places that I have promised I'll take this guy to. And I just noticed that as I was going to go and talk to her, they just drive to the front and, they park. And then they tell me that, oh, how far? The guy just tells me like, oh, okay, sorry. I just want to just clarify something. I can't lose this client. And he enters inside the car and he drives off. Now, all the people that had come with us, the convoy, all of them had gone. And because I was trying to do something quick, I took a ride to the place, right? So I had planned that I was going to take a ride. After we were doing all the things I was going to do, I was going to take a ride back to the office. This guy leaves me in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of an estate that I don't know, or a compound I don't know, and just goes off. Oh, man. I was just there, like, I genuinely recorded a video and I was like, the things that happen in this city, I genuinely am so confused. Like, how did I leave my house? And you had the effrontery, and keep in mind, by the way, after all of these things, these guys still had the effrontery to send me a message and said, okay, so when will we be meeting tomorrow? I told him that you I was like, so you still, I think I said, you still have my number and you have the mind to even still message me. And I was like, oh, this is what happened. I said, please delete my number. I beg you, just delete. And I archived the chat. Like, it was just the height of disrespect and everything, but nonetheless, if you're looking for a home in Lagos, man, my heart goes out to you. If this is how your experience is in other cities around the world, wow, it isn't easy, but I am very confident of the fact that I will get somewhere that's really nice. I already know, like, I just have that witness in my spirit. So when that is sorted, I'll tell you guys the journey of how that goes. All right. So I think with that said, we can get into the heart of today's episode. All right, let's get into it. So we have spoken about amazing things over the past couple of episodes. And we started off with, are you hurting? And that's where we faced the reality of where we currently are, right? We're going through things. We're going through things. Above all things. I'm so sorry. You guys don't understand this, but I went to Cromwell University. That's just my simple answer to that. So we're going through things. And then we're going to the first step. And we talked about sharing, right? And then we got into the last episode where we talked about reframing and getting answers. And in this episode, which is the final notes, I came here to say one sentence. And all I came to say is this: the last step in the healing journey is simply this. You need to make a decision. It doesn't sound so deep, right? But it's important. And let me explain. The truth is that you can mourn, you can grieve, and you can hurt for a very long time, and maybe your entire life. And the very honest truth is that you will be right. The world is a wicked place, the world is difficult, and the world has been unfair to you. But the interesting thing about life is that in the midst of all of that, one thing that you would not experience and one thing that you would not be would be healed. So I think it's a very weird paradox how sometimes the most loving thing that you can do to yourself is to take a decision that is contrary to how you're feeling and to give yourself some tough love and a kick up the backside and say, I am doing this thing. It is so weird sometimes that the most comforting thing you can do to yourself is to disregard your comfort. The most compassionate thing you can do sometimes to your feelings is to disregard your feelings. Because if you give in sometimes to the narrative and the things you've experienced, it will just keep on sucking you in deeper, 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 and you'll be right. The truth is that you'll be right. What happened was unfair. But there comes a time where just to help you be better and to help you be whole again, you'd have to give yourself that push. And that's what I came to say in this episode, that in your healing journey, somewhere in that mix of the ingredients like I shared would be you making a decision to say, this happened to me, but this is not going to be the end of me. This is not going to be the final story about my life. It's not even going to be the biggest detail. There's more to me, and I will find that out, and I will stop living from the perspective of what had happened to me. There's a version of me where what happened to me is not the biggest detail. It's just a detail. And there's so much more. It's so much more beautiful picture. And I am going to find that picture and I'm going to live in that picture. Right. And like I said, like it is unfair, right? Because you might have not been responsible for what happened to you. But just for your own good, you will need to just take responsibility for the outcome of what happens from here. Because in the end, that's the only thing that is within your hands. There are people that have very extreme views, extreme ownership, and etc. But there is some degree of truth to some of these views that people have, where they take like crazy responsibility for things that sometimes are even weird. But they take that decision to say that, like, I will be happy. This is not the end of my story. So I will be transparent with you guys and I'll share stories of what I'm currently going through. In the first episodes, I had shared earlier that this is not a podcast of a teacher teaching students. This is a podcast of a student sharing his notes. And so I will share. So a while back, I had some difficult situations with driving. So I was having a driving lesson. And it just so happened that in my driving lesson, I think we were trying to drive. I don't even know if the guy actually had because typically like the instructor would have like an emergency brake that he can pull on, but he didn't. So he kind of was using his mouth to direct me. And, I think one thing led to the other. I mistakenly so we're in this road in First Stack, and I mistakenly I don't know if I hit the person. In a sense, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened, but they shall parked and got so angry. I think they were even shouting at me, saying, "Hey, stupid man! Hey, useless man! How can you be driving here? How can you?" And they were very, very negotiations how they can be when they get angry. And so by the time the guy was done, the guy just looked at me. I was like, "See, I was telling you to brake now. I was. And I was so heartbroken by the experience. I just came down from the car and I just went out. I was crying. Oh my God. Because I can still remember his face. He was so beat up from it. I was telling you. And I was learning. I probably I forgot which leg was which. Right. At that point. But so it was very scary. So fast forward, I go to driving school afterwards. I still continue learning. And then I start driving like my family. And on a particular day when I was trying to drive, by the way, it's the first day, and I'm taking them to church. And so I take them to church, we're all coming out, everything is nice. So we want to buy fuel. So I go buy fuel. Instead of kind of like taking, well, I tried to be a responsible citizen, so I didn't take one way because the filling station is like very close to like my bus stop. So I could have literally just come to the other way and just entered my bus stop. So I went to take like the roundabout and went a long journey to go all the way back. And I was at this T junction. I was trying to turn, and at that time I was still working on like, I don't know if I call it motor vision. I don't know what it is, but we're able to see like, at the T junction, you're thinking of where the people are coming from, where you're turning to, people maybe on your side as well, because you know how Lagos is. People, you're trying to turn and other people are trying to turn with you at the same time in the same place. So you're trying to think about people by your side, people from the other side of the road, and where you're turning into, right? So I had looked at the right, everybody had stopped. I had not looked at my left, and I was trying to make the turn. And while I was trying to make the turn, this guy was trying to speed past me. And as we did so, like terrible accidents. So like just hit like different people, had everything. And it was just a very, 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 very interesting, not interesting, very, very scarring experience, right, for me. Because, like, you know, the car, we had to fix the car, etc., had to do a lot of things. I remember getting back into the car, and I was like, after the car came back, and I just drove around the estate just to push myself, right? And as I did that, like, I just felt like I was sweating. By the time I left, the seat was wet. My trouser, I didn't know I could sweat like that. Like just remembering that experience was very traumatizing for me. And so I just had to just push myself through and to go for it. And I think one thing I just saw from that entire experience was just how much like these things happen, they're scarring, and you can say, oh, I'll never drive again. But like, you actually need to get back out there, bro. So let me give another example. So I think it's something that I'm mostly pushing myself through in terms of like, guy, this is nice, but bro, you're going out there, right? A similar experience also happened with my friend. Now his was way worse, right? He was driving on 10 Milan Bridge, and I think was trying to speed, and somebody tried to cut him, and the person kind of pushed him, and on 10 Milan Bridge, by the way, he dented the railing on the bridge. The car was bashed terribly. I remember him narrating the entire experience and talking about how his life flashed before his eyes. I remember seeing him that day. He came after church, and like, because he couldn't even make it for church, so he had to go show me the video. Man, crazy stuff. And the funny thing was that I think a week after the car was fixed, this guy was driving again, right? Until today, I'm sure, I don't know if he still even remembers the experience. But where I'm heading at with this is that push to just say, like, you know what, like, guy, we're going back out there. We're going back. And there's something about that push when you do so that is like something kicks into gear as you do it. And as you do it, like, it just gives you that push to be able to move on from something faster than you could have if you just chose to empathize a bit too much, right? So it's kind of like a balance. Let me give another analogy. So I had another experience as well with a friend. So we're traveling. So we're trying to go to this particular city. So the first time we traveled via airplane, I think they were like mid-air, and then next thing we just hear like, oh, the airplane is like overheating, something like that, like in water temperature, blah, blah, blah. You know, and the person has to turn back to Lagos. I'm like, So everyone is nervous, like, oh, half hour waiting the call, like, why is this thing like airplane do overheat? so we have to turn back. And so he's looking at me, because I remember like he was actually like a bit nervous. So he was looking at me like, David, are we going to make it? So we landed, and then we tried to go again. And next time we went, there was turbulence, and they were like, oh, the weather is not too good. So we had to turn back again and come back. And so the entire experience was just like, what's happening? Why are we trying to go here multiple sequences, and why is this not happening, right? And then we ended up going by road. And interestingly, that same airplane, some people actually still went in because when the weather was better, they entered in, and they still went and they flew, and they landed in the city that they wanted to go to. That, my friend who went through that experience, has since then still continued to go with that. By the way, that same airline and you know, travels a lot with the same airline, even irrespective of the experience. Now me, I was a bit scarred from the experience, right? And part of the things I'm doing to push myself is just like, man, I like it doesn't matter. I'm going to enter inside that thing. All right. And so imagine yourself like maybe in an experience where you might be exposed to flying a lot and you've had some experiences that might be potentially scarring. But like when you put everything else into context where you share, express what has happened, give yourself some, or let's start from the top. When you acknowledge what had happened, you share with people, then you get answers that, oh, well, like you are not actually in a risky position. Like that thing won't have come down. God is protecting your life. When you actually get those answers, guy, push yourself and go back out there. And as you push yourself and you go back out there, like you just notice that that thing with exercise and that continual putting yourself out there will just simmer down and will die out, and it will just be like it never happened. Yeah. So the balance, like I said, is the fact that every other thing else that we've talked about are relevant ingredients that should come, I would say, first, but you can apply it in the context that applies in your own situation, right? So you have to listen to all the other episodes, not just start from here. But it's particularly important. So you have to put those things into context where you get that comfort, get the truth, where you get to engage, share, etc., and then make a decision and take corresponding actions in line with the person that you want to be. Yeah. So I've noticed that my male friends tend to succeed at this very, very well. They are very good at this step. To just move on and just push. At the time when I had that breakup, interestingly, the person that, the friend of mine had a similar experience, and he, right now is married. I even saw him yesterday. And it was just really just an interesting testament. Like a couple of weeks after, I was already telling me that, like, guy, I'm ready to move on. I was like, fast. But like, there's a place for that where it's like, I'm moving. This is not going to hold me back. Obviously, like I said earlier, it's a context and it's a balance, but they need to be put together in as a recipe in your healing journey, because the truth is that you might not always feel like you're ready. And sometimes you just have to just say, I am ready. I'm ready. And I know what I know enough. I've seen, I've shared. I feel like I have empathy. Like every other things I talked about in the episode, I feel like I'm good. And it's like a cycle, right? So you push, maybe you feel like, oh, you went out there, and then you share with more people like, oh, this is how it went, and get more answers, or you reframe even better and you push yourself again. Like it might just be a cycle. You get like, just keep on going. Keep on going, and soon enough, like that thing will just die off and fall off you. You pray, everything. I don't want to have to go through everything that I said in the episodes all over again, but they all come together. So if I could summarize everything, I would say that there are two pits, and we don't know who did the pits. Or there are two ditches rather. So when you go too much to being in touch with your feelings without being intentional or taking a decision, it can swallow you and the hurt will fester even more. If you take a decision without checking under the hood to be in touch with your feelings, it can be like denial, and it will lead to outbursts, and your hurts will just keep on growing. And that's why you have to put two of them together in this beautiful blend. And when you do it, there is dynamite. That's where the power is released. So I came into this episode to just tell you that you should make a decision. All right. The past isn't serving you anymore. And so sometimes you might need to let go of some of that compassion that you receive and not hold on to that narrative of being the one that was hurt by this thing, or just to let go of that compassion, because compassion sometimes can be addictive. Don't you know that I'm going through this? Sometimes it can be very nice to feel that love that you get from people. So sometimes you might willingly, intentionally just want to just let go of that and say like, okay, no, like I don't need it anymore. I want love from another way. Right. And just say that like God will provide all that I need, and everything I've lost, I will have it in my future. And there's more to me than what has happened. And this is a very deep, hard decision. But if you do it well, you might even forget that something even happened to you. People might even need to remind you that, oh, that happened. All right. It will just help you just not hold that hurt as a secret card in the back of your heart that you can always go back to on bad days. You'll be like, oh, this is who I am. Forgive, have compassion. Like it's there. But sometimes there's just that need to be able to let go of that card and be like, okay, this happened, but this is not the lenses through who I am. Like there's more to me. Like I am a this, I am a that, I am a that. Just to define yourself from the perspective of just being a whole person more than a person recovering from where, this, that. Because at the end of it all, the cornerstone to who you are still is that hurt. And you want to take that away and let the cornerstone of who you are be being whole. And that happened. But this is who I am. Do you understand? That kind of thing. So consider everything, like I said earlier, as ingredients rather than a manual. My experience, I use it as a sequence, but yours could be different. But just I know that whichever way you go, all these things will be relevant to your journey. And so you put them together and you will have a banging healing journey. So I want to encourage you that every day you spend not being the healed you there's a beautiful life that you have not experienced. So be hungry for the other side so much that you're less inclined to remain where you are, and more inclined and eager to be whole and to enjoy your life to a deeper level. Yeah. So that's the episode, and that is the healing series of episodes. I have poured my heart out in the past couple of episodes to you people. Maybe it's when I get to heaven that I will see just how far this goes in the life of people. But please take this with you and let this give you the push to be where you should be. So don't forget to share, to like, to share your experience. I've had this episode in my heart for 2 years and I finally let it out. So this is from my heart to yours. Have a beautiful life. And share with me your stories, please. Very, very important. All right, take care. So the next episode, you find out when we get there. You find out. We'll see you next time at the Halo. Bye.